My sister told me I wasn't ready to join the family at the table. So I stayed home and caught the news, where my deal had just broken industry records. The next morning, my whole family was standing in my lobby. Can you imagine being told you're not ready for Thanksgiving dinner? Not by some stranger, but by your own sister. That's what happened to me, just days before I closed a deal that would make headlines and change everything. But the real twist? It wasn't about the money. It was about the crushing realization that sometimes the people who should lift you up are the very ones holding you back. I'm Cole, and for as long as I can remember, being a Marshall meant living with impossibly high standards. I was the middle child, stuck between two siblings who seemed genetically engineered for success. My dad, James, a renowned cardiovascular surgeon, had a whole wall of accolades. My mom, Patricia, was a Harvard economics professor shaping national policy. My older sister, Allison, followed mom's academic path straight into corporate law, ruthless and brilliant. And then there was my younger brother, Bradley, an investment banking whiz who hit millionaire status before he was 25. Me? I was Cole Marshall, the dreamer, the kid who'd dismantle computers instead of studying for tests. Next to their perfect GPAs, my solid B+ looked like a massive failure. When is Cole going to find something practical to focus on? That question haunted every family dinner. I'd sit there, shrinking, as they dissected Allison's latest courtroom triumph or Bradley's newest investment strategy. My dad would pat my shoulder. You just haven't found your path yet, son. But the unspoken message was deafening. My path just wasn't good enough. The real breaking point hit during my sophomore year at Boston University, already a step down from their Ivy League schools. I was knee-deep in computer science, but my true passion was building this AI security algorithm, something I genuinely believed could revolutionize online privacy. When I told my family I wanted to drop out and start a tech company, you'd have thought I'd announced plans to join a cult. My dad slammed his fork down. You cannot be serious, Cole. You need credentials in this world. My mom, ever the diplomat, said, Darling, finish your degree, then you can play with your computer ideas. But Allison cut the deepest. She didn't even look up from her plate. This is just another example of your immaturity, Cole. This isn't a real career plan. It's a fantasy. Only my grandfather, Robert, my dad's father, a self-made man who built a construction empire from scratch, saw something different. He pulled me aside after dinner, a conspiratorial whisper. They don't understand people like us. He slipped me a $5,000 check. Go make something. Prove them wrong. He passed away 3 months later, never seeing what his belief would create. I dropped out the very next week. My parents' communication dwindled to monthly phone calls. Bradley treated my decision as an embarrassing family secret. But Allison? She was relentless, sending me articles about failed startups, job postings for entry-level IT. Just trying to help you have a backup plan, she'd say, dripping with that condescension and pity that became her default setting for me. Family gatherings became a special kind of torture. At Thanksgiving that year, at 22, I was still at the kids' table. By Christmas, conversations would just stop when I entered a room. My hobby, as they called my business, was never important enough to discuss alongside Allison's partnership track or Bradley's booming portfolio. This pattern hardened over the years. Holiday invitations became conditional. Don't discuss your hobby, Cole. Family photos mysteriously excluded me. When my grandmother turned 75, Allison called. Dress code. Successful professional. I arrived in my best suit, feeling hopeful. She took one look, sighed. I meant successful by normal standards, Cole. Not startup casual. I wasn't in any official photos that day. By 30, I was the family's cautionary tale. But what they didn't know was that their rejection, their constant dismissal, had forged an unbreakable resolve inside me. It fueled me. Those first 3 years after college were brutal. Boston winters felt even colder when I was choosing between heating my apartment and buying server space. Mornings I'd make coffee, afternoons I'd freelance code, and deep into the night, I'd pour everything into my security software. My air mattress deflated nightly, leaving me on the hardwood by morning. Roommates moved out, fed up with the endless ramen smell and my insane schedule. I couch surfed until everyone's hospitality wore thin. It was rock bottom. I was sleeping in a 24-hour coffee shop, pretending to work while actually catching naps, when I met Marcus Reed. He caught me dozing. Instead of reporting me, He sat down and asked what I was working on. Marcus had just sold his own web development company and was looking for a new challenge. Unlike my family, he listened. When I explained my AI-driven security system, where they heard fantasy, he heard raw, undeniable potential. "You're thinking 5 years ahead of the market," he exclaimed, eyes wide, after seeing my prototype. This could change everything. 2 weeks later, we were partners. Working from his spare bedroom, with a whiteboard, 2 laptops, and endless determination. Marcus invested $70,000, enough to register, patent, and build a functioning demo. Our first venture, Secure Core, crashed and burned after 18 months. We misjudged the market, launched too early, too many bugs. We burned through our capital. I was devastated. But Marcus? He was unstoppable. Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb. He reminded me as we packed up our tiny office. We just found one way that doesn't work. Our second attempt, Quantum Lock, was laser-focused. We lived on instant noodles, worked from shared desks we could only afford 3 days a week. The other days? Libraries, coffee shops, anywhere with free Wi-Fi. Our algorithm was revolutionary, but convincing investors was brutal. VC after VC would listen politely, then tell us we were too ambitious, team too small, experience too limited. "Come back when you have more traction" became the anthem of rejection. After 37 failed pitches, we were almost done. Savings gone. Marcus had taken out a second mortgage. We gave ourselves one last month. That's when Rachel Kim entered the picture. A partner at Horizon Ventures, she specialized in high-risk, high-reward tech. Unlike the others, she came to our pitch herself. Her questions showed she truly understood. "Everyone else is fixing today's problems," she said. "You're preventing tomorrow's. That's where the real value lies." Rachel invested $1.5 million for 15% of Quantum Lock. It wasn't the biggest seed round, but it was everything. We got real office space, hired for key people, and for the first time in years, we got paychecks. Dominic Alvarez, a coding genius, translated my theories into lightning-fast code. Sophia Washington brought her marketing savvy. With a real team, Quantum Lock soared. Our first client, a small bank, saw us catch intrusions their old system missed. Word spread. By year 3, we had 27 clients, profitable, and catching industry attention. Tech Innovator called our approach potentially revolutionary. I sent the article to my family, hoping for a flicker of acknowledgement. My mom sent a brief, "Congratulations." My dad said nothing. Bradley's nice write-up, "Bro," was, frankly, progress. Allison? Her response was classic. "Interesting small start, Cole. Let me know when Fortune or Wall Street Journal covers you." Still, we were gaining real recognition. I spoke at the Security Tech Summit. Our system prevented a major data breach for a client, saving them millions. And then, the big one, preliminary conversations with Global Tech, one of the world's largest corporations. Their head of security had seen my presentation. Just getting in their door was massive. As Thanksgiving approached in our 4th year, Quantum Lock was on the cusp. The Global Tech deal would transform everything. I was working 16-hour days, finalizing the proposal, refining the tech. For the first time in years, I thought I had something even they couldn't dismiss. Something that might finally earn me a seat at the adults' table. Marshall Family Thanksgiving was an institution. A carefully choreographed display of accomplishments, with seating arranged by family hierarchy. As November rolled in, I actually wanted to go. Quantum Lock was about to explode. I had real metrics, real milestones. Even my statistics-obsessed family couldn't ignore this. I called my mom 2 weeks out. She sounded surprised. "Cole, what a nice surprise." That familiar hesitation in her voice, waiting for bad news or a request for money. "Hi, Mom. I was calling about Thanksgiving. I'd like to come this year." A pause. Paper shuffling. "Oh, well, we're doing the usual time, 3 o'clock. Your Aunt Catherine and Uncle Thomas will be there." "Great," I chirped, encouraged. "I've got some exciting news. We're in final negotiations with Global Tech for a major implementation." Her tone warmed slightly. "That sounds promising. Your father will be interested. He just started using one of those password manager things. Not exactly effusive, but more positive than I'd heard in years." I felt cautiously optimistic. That optimism lasted exactly 3 days. Allison called. "Cole, it's your sister." as if I'd forgotten her voice after 30 years of her telling me what to do. Hey, Allison, what's up? I put my coding aside. She rarely called without purpose. Mom mentioned you're planning to come to Thanksgiving. That's right. The company's doing really well. Thought it'd be nice to reconnect. I kept my voice light, collaborative. About that, she said, her lawyer voice in full effect. I don't think it's a good idea this year. What? Why not? My blood ran cold. Well, Franklin will be there, her husband, a tax attorney with the personality of dry toast. And he's bringing his boss and his boss's wife. Bradley's also bringing his new girlfriend, Hannah, whose father is the dean of finance at Wharton. It's going to be a very professional gathering. That familiar tightening in my chest. The same old sensation of being an embarrassing anomaly. I'm a professional too, Allison. My company is about to close a major deal with Global Tech. You know, one of the largest tech corporations in the world. That's nice, Cole. And we're all hoping your little startup works out. But let's be realistic. You're not quite ready to sit with the family yet. Not with these particular guests. Not ready? I was 35 years old. I'd built a company from nothing, now on the verge of a breakthrough. A potential breakthrough, she corrected. Nothing signed yet, right? That's what Mom said. Look, once you have some real success, something concrete, you'll fit right back in. But right now, all you have are promises and potential. That doesn't quite measure up. The anger and hurt boiled. I wanted to scream. To tell her about our client list, our growth, our industry recognition. But years of this taught me it would never be enough. There was some nebulous threshold of success that kept moving every time I got close. Fine, I finally said, my voice dangerously calm. Tell Mom I won't make it. I'll be too busy working on my little startup. Don't be like that, Cole. We're just trying to maintain certain standards. I'm sure you understand. I hung up, staring at my computer screen, the code for our global tech proposal glowing back at me. The rejection stung, but through the pain, something else emerged, determination. If my sister thought I wasn't ready to sit with the family, maybe she was right. But not for her reasons. Maybe I had outgrown the need for their validation altogether. I texted Marcus and Sophia, who had both invited me to their Thanksgiving dinners. I declined. This Thanksgiving, while my family had their very professional gathering, I would be closing the biggest deal of my career. You're seriously going to work through Thanksgiving? Sophia asked the next day. That's a little depressing, Cole. Actually, I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it, it feels right. For once, I'm choosing my own path, not trying to earn my way back to a table where I was never truly welcome. Marcus clapped me on the shoulder. They're losing out. But if you change your mind, my mom makes enough food for an army. I spent the week leading up to Thanksgiving in a state of hyper-focused determination. Every slight, every dismissive comment, every condescending look from my family had quietly fueled me for years. Now, instead of trying to prove them wrong, I was simply moving forward on my terms. The global tech proposal was nearly done, but there were still complex technical challenges. Integrating our system into their massive infrastructure was a puzzle. Exactly the kind of puzzle my family had dismissed as a frivolous hobby. As Thursday neared, I got a text from my mom. We'll miss you tomorrow. Maybe Christmas. It was a peace offering, but the implied conditionality was clear. My presence was still optional, dependent on factors beyond just being her son. I replied, we'll see, and turned back to the work that now defined me more than my family name ever had. Thanksgiving Day dawned clear and cold. From my apartment window, I saw families carrying covered dishes. A brief pang of loneliness, quickly swallowed as I turned to my laptop. Today wasn't just a holiday I was skipping. It was the day Global Tech's executive team would review our final proposal. While America ate turkey, I made coffee, set up my monitors, and dove into last-minute optimizations. Around noon, Marcus texted, "Happy Turkey Day, man. How's it going?" I sent back a quick update, a photo of my war room, surrounded by empty coffee cups. His reply, hardcore. "My mom says there's a plate for you." I smiled, but stayed focused. The holiday quiet was a blessing. By mid-afternoon, when my family would be sitting down to dinner, I had refined our integration timeline and added several critical security enhancements. At 4:30, my phone buzzed. An email from Linda Jiao, Global Tech's Chief Security Officer. My heart hammered. "Cole, our team reviewed your proposal. Very impressive overall, but we have concerns about scaling for our user volume. Can we discuss solutions? Not a rejection, a challenge, one that needed an immediate response. I called Marcus. He answered amidst family chatter. Potential roadblock with global tech. They're worried about scale. Want me to come over? I can leave in 20. No. Enjoy your family time. I'll take a first crack. For the next 3 hours, I rebuilt portions of our architecture, designing a new distributed approach. I lost track of time, fully immersed. At 9:15, Rachel Kim called. Shouldn't you be in a turkey coma? She laughed. I could ask you the same. My contact at Global Tech just called. They said you sent revised architecture specs an hour ago, on Thanksgiving evening. They're impressed with the responsiveness. Did they say anything about the technical solution? They're reviewing it now. Their team actually went back to the office after dinner. That's a good sign, Cole. Very good. After she hung up, I paced. This was it. Years of work. Everything. If it went through, it validated everything. If not, at 11:20 p.m., my computer chimed. A video call request from Linda Shao. I took a deep breath, straightened my shirt, and accepted. Linda's face appeared, the Global Tech office visible behind her. Several others were gathered around a conference table. Cole, hope we're not interrupting your holiday too much, she began. Not at all. What did you think of the revised architecture? Linda glanced at her team, then back at me. We think it's brilliant. The distributed processing solves our scaling concerns, and the redundancy features actually improve on our current protocols. I tried to stay professional, but inside, I was soaring. We'd like to move forward, she continued. Our legal team is drafting the contract now. This will be the largest security implementation we've ever undertaken with an external partner. The call continued for 30 minutes. When we disconnected, it was official. Quantum Lock had landed the largest security technology deal of the year. I sat in stunned silence. Then, I did something I hadn't done in years. I cried, not from sadness, but from vindication, relief, and the sudden, overwhelming release of pressure that had built up since the day my family first dismissed my dreams. At midnight, as Thanksgiving officially ended, my doorbell rang. Marcus stood there, champagne bottle in hand, grinning. Rachel called me, he explained. Said we had something to celebrate. We popped the champagne, drinking straight from the bottle like the broke founders we'd once been. Marcus raised a toast to the guy who skipped Thanksgiving dinner and landed the biggest deal of the year instead. Later, as Marcus left, he paused at the door. Are you going to call your family? Tell them about the deal. I considered it. Nah. The announcement goes public tomorrow morning. They can find out along with everyone else. Marcus nodded, understanding the years of context behind that decision. Well, I'm proud of you, man. You built something real, something important. After he left, I sat by the window, looking out at the quiet, post-holiday street. Somewhere across the city, my family was sleeping in their elegant homes, unaware that by morning, my name would be in business headlines nationwide. For the first time in my adult life, I didn't need their approval. I had built my own table, and it turned out to be far larger and infinitely more satisfying than theirs had ever been. I woke the next morning to an insistent buzzing. My phone. 6:15 a.m. Marcus was calling. Dude, turn on the news right now, he practically yelled. Channel 7. What? What? I stumbled into the living room. Just do it. Trust me. I flipped on the TV. My face was on the screen, next to the Quantum Lock logo. Boston tech startup lands historic deal with Global Tech. The caption read. The anchor announced. Estimated to be worth over $120 million, making it the largest security technology acquisition in industry history. Quantum Lock, founded by Boston native Cole Marshall, will implement their AI security system across Global Tech's entire cloud infrastructure. What the hell? I muttered into the phone. The press release wasn't supposed to go out until 9. Global Tech jumped the gun, Marcus said, his voice brimming with excitement. Their CEO announced it during a pre-market interview on Bloomberg. It's everywhere, man. CNBC, Fox Business, Wall Street Journal Online. We're trending on Twitter. I sank onto my couch, watching the news clip, B-roll of our office, Linda Shao praising our revolutionary technology. This is insane, I breathed. Check your email and messages, Marcus suggested. I bet they're blowing up. He was right. 73 new emails, 47 texts, countless notifications from LinkedIn. Industry contacts, old friends, strangers, all reaching out. As I scrolled, my phone rang again. My mother. I hesitated, then answered. Cole. Her voice had a quality I'd rarely heard, uncertainty. Hi, Mom. We just saw you on the morning news. Your company, this deal with Global Tech. Is it really worth over $100 million? $127.5 million, to be exact, I said, a small part of me savoring the shock value. Plus implementation fees and a 5-year service contract. Silence. Then, I heard my father's voice in the background. Your father wants to know if this is real. If it's definite. The contracts were signed last night. The announcement went out early this morning. So yes, it's very real. Oh my goodness, she breathed. Cole, why didn't you tell us? We had no idea it was this serious. I tried to, Mom. Remember when I called about Thanksgiving? Allison said I wasn't ready to sit with the family yet. Another pause. That was a misunderstanding, she said carefully. We would have loved to have you there if we'd known about this wonderful news. That's kind of the point, isn't it? I replied. I should be welcome regardless of news, or deals, or dollar amounts. My call waiting beeped. Bradley. Mom, I need to take this. Of course. We'll talk more later. We're very proud of you, Cole. I switched to Bradley's call. Cole. Holy man, he exclaimed, sounding genuinely thrilled. You're all over the financial news. My colleagues are asking if you're my brother. This is incredible. Thanks, Bradley. It's been a long time coming. No kidding. Listen, we should get together soon. I've got some contacts at Morgan Stanley who would love to discuss investment opportunities now that you're scaling up. Of course, he wasn't just congratulating me. He was already positioning himself. Still, it was the most enthusiastic he'd ever been about my career. Sure, we can talk about that sometime, I said noncommittally. Great. Hey, did Allison call you yet? No. What? Bradley chuckled. She's freaking out. Called me at 5:30 this morning when she saw the early business reports. I think she's worried you're going to tell everyone how she uninvited you from Thanksgiving. That's not really my style, I said, though the thought had definitely crossed my mind. Well, expect a call. She's in full damage control mode. Anyway, congrats again. This is massive. After hanging up, I saw Allison had indeed called 3 times, leaving frantic texts. Cole, call me as soon as you get this. Just saw the news. We need to talk. Please call back. It's important. I set my phone aside. Let her sweat a little. After years of diminishing my work, a few hours of uncertainty seemed fair. My phone continued to explode. Rachel called to discuss PR strategy. Sophia coordinated with journalists. Dominic fielded technical questions. In the midst of it all, an unexpected call from Darius Jackson, my freshman roommate, now a reporter for the Boston Business Journal. Cole Marshall, tech wonderkind. Should have kept in better touch, man. Darius, long time. I'm guessing this isn't just a social call. That obvious, huh? Yeah, I'm writing the feature on your global tech deal. Everyone's talking about the dollar amount, but I want the human story, the journey. Give me something nobody else has. I considered for a moment. How about this? Yesterday, while I was finalizing this historic deal, my own sister told me I wasn't successful enough to attend family Thanksgiving. Darius whistled. That's cold. And perfect for my angle. Mind if I use that? I hesitated. Then, actually, let's keep family out of it. Focus on the technology and the business challenges instead. Your call, he said. But that would have made one hell of a lead. By noon, I finally returned Allison's call, more out of curiosity than obligation. Cole. Thank God, she answered instantly. I've been trying to reach you all morning. I've been busy. Lots of press and industry calls about the deal. Yes, the deal. It's impressive. Truly. I had no idea things had progressed to this level. That's because you never asked, Allison. None of you did. She sighed heavily. I may have been hasty in my assessment yesterday about Thanksgiving. It was poor judgment on my part. This was as close to an apology as Allison Marshall had ever given. Under different circumstances, I might have savored it. Instead, I felt strangely detached. Water under the bridge, I said. Was there something specific you needed? Actually, yes. The family is getting together tomorrow for lunch at Dad and Mom's. We'd very much like you to join us. Franklin's boss was quite impressed when your name came up at dinner yesterday. He apparently uses global tech services for his firm and was fascinated to learn about the family connection. There it was. Not an invitation based on familial love or genuine interest. but on what social capital my sudden success could provide. I'll check my schedule, I said neutrally. We're in full implementation mode now, so things are pretty hectic. Please try to make it, she pressed. It would mean a lot to everyone. After ending the call, I stood by my apartment window, watching people below. The familiar Boston skyline looked different. Not the city, of course. It was me. How the world perceived me. I turned back to my laptop. Emails still pouring in. Among them, a message from Darius. Subject, just saw this. He'd linked to a business forum. Someone had posted, Quantum Lock CEO Cole Marshall was reportedly working through Thanksgiving to close the global tech deal while his family celebrated without him. Talk about dedication. The story was already taking on a life of its own. One thing was certain. I wasn't the same invisible middle child anymore. For better or worse, I was now Cole Marshall, tech success story. And my family, who couldn't make room for me at their Thanksgiving table, would be dealing with that new reality very soon. Saturday morning. Clear skies, crisp November air. I'd spent Friday fielding press, reassuring clients, starting implementation planning. I'd deliberately avoided giving Allison a definitive answer about lunch. Partly busy, partly needing to decide how to handle this new dynamic. In the end, I chose work. Quantum Lock offices were usually closed weekends, but today, the core team was coming in. Success brought its own challenges. We needed to scale. Fast. Hire more people. Deliver on our promises. I arrived at 8:30. The security guard in the lobby nodded with new respect, having clearly seen the news. Our office was on the 12th floor of a renovated factory, exposed brick, huge windows overlooking the harbor. As I neared the elevator, the guard called out, Mr. Marshall, you have visitors waiting upstairs. Visitors? Who? A family, they said. 4 people. Been here since 8. I sent them up to your floor's waiting area. My stomach clenched. There was only one family this could be. The elevator doors opened. Through the glass doors of our reception, I saw them. My father, stiff by the window. My mother, perched nervously. Bradley, examining our awards wall, hands clasped behind his back. Allison, pacing, checking her phone. For a split second, I considered hitting the elevator button and disappearing. But they'd seen me. I pushed through the doors. An awkward silence. No one knew how to greet me. My mother rose first, arms outstretched. Cole, darling, your office is lovely. I accepted her hug, feeling the unfamiliar stiffness. Thanks, Mom. I wasn't expecting visitors today. We tried calling, my father said, stepping forward to shake my hand formally. But it went straight to voicemail. I turned my phone off last night. Needed a break from the constant calls. Allison approached, her face a carefully constructed mask of sisterly pride. We thought we'd surprise you. Celebrate your big news in person. Before I could respond, the elevator dinged. Marcus stepped out, coffee carrier in hand. He stopped dead. Oh, sorry. Didn't realize you had company. He looked at me questioningly. It's fine, Marcus. This is my family. They dropped by unexpectedly. I made introductions, watching my family register that Marcus, in his casual clothes, was my partner, the co-architect of our success. Great to finally meet you all, Marcus said, with a pointed finally that didn't escape anyone. Cole's told me so much about you. An uncomfortable silence. Then, the security guard, Dave, approached, concerned. Everything okay here, Mr. Marshall? These people said they were family, but they're not on the approved visitor list. It was a small thing, but seeing my family, the ones who always held the authority, being questioned about their right to be in my space. It shifted something profound. It's fine, Dave. They're with me, I assured him. Sorry about that, Dave said to my family. We've had to tighten security since yesterday. Lots of people trying to get in to see Mr. Marshall since the news broke. My father looked surprised at Dave's tone. Bradley was impressed despite himself. Allison's face was unreadable. Why don't we go into the conference room? I suggested, leading them through our space. It wasn't lavish, but it was modern, thoughtfully designed. Whiteboard walls covered with complex diagrams. Glass-walled server rooms. It all spoke of a successful operation. As we walked, my family took it all in, recalibrating their mental image of my hobby. In the conference room, with its view of Boston Harbor, we sat around the large table where I'd finalized the global tech deal. Now, it was the stage for a very different negotiation. This is all quite impressive, Cole, my father began, gesturing around. You've built something substantial here. Thank you. I replied simply. Why didn't you tell us it had gotten this serious? My mother asked, her tone somewhere between hurt and accusatory. All these years, we thought you were just, well, just what, Mom? I asked quietly. Just wasting my time? Just avoiding real work? Just failing to live up to the Marshall family standard? That's not fair, Allison interjected. We were concerned about your stability, your future. This industry is notoriously volatile. So is the stock market, I countered, looking at Bradley. So is the legal profession in a changing economy. Everything has risks. The difference is you never believed mine were worth taking. My father cleared his throat. Perhaps we were too traditional in our thinking, too focused on established paths. But we always wanted what was best for you. Did you? I asked, the question hanging heavy. Or did you want what would reflect best on you? Bradley, surprisingly, broke the tension. He's right, Dad. We were all pretty dismissive of Cole's work. I know I was. He turned to me. That was short-sighted of me, bro. What you've built here is impressive as hell. This unexpected support shifted the energy. My mother's eyes welled. We're so proud of you now, Cole, she said, reaching for my hand. So very proud. Now, I repeated, gently but firmly withdrawing my hand. That's the operative word, isn't it? Now that there's external validation. Now that the business world has deemed my work valuable. Now that my success might actually benefit you socially. That's not fair, Allison said again, but with less conviction. Isn't it? I pressed. You literally told me 2 days ago that I wasn't ready to sit with the family, that I needed real success before I could be included. Well, here it is. By your definition. And suddenly everyone's proud and supportive. My father, ever the pragmatist, tried to redirect. What's past is past, Cole. We're here now because we want to be part of your life going forward. Your success opens many doors, and we can help you navigate these new waters. I have contacts in venture capital who could— Stop, I interrupted, raising my hand. Just stop. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're already positioning yourselves to capitalize on my success rather than simply being happy for me. The conference room door opened. Sophia entered, tablet in hand. She paused, sensing the tension. Sorry to interrupt. The global tech implementation team is on the line for the scheduled call. I'll be right there, I said, grateful for the interruption. My family was just leaving. But we just got here, my mother protested. We thought we could take you to lunch, celebrate properly. I'm working today. We have a $127 million contract to implement. I stood, signaling the end. I appreciate you coming by, but this isn't a good time. As the others reluctantly rose, Allison remained. Could I speak with Cole privately for a moment? She asked, looking at our parents and Bradley. They nodded and filed out, my father already on his phone, probably calling those VC contacts. When we were alone, Allison's carefully constructed facade cracked. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Making us grovel after years of being the family disappointment. I'm not making anyone grovel, Allison. I'm just not pretending the past didn't happen. People make mistakes, Cole. We misjudged your potential. We're trying to make amends. Are you? Or are you trying to save face now that your unsuccessful brother is making headlines? She flinched. For perhaps the first time, I saw genuine regret in her eyes. Both, probably, she admitted with unexpected honesty. Does that make me terrible? It makes you human. But it doesn't erase years of condescension and exclusion. What do you want from us, Cole? An official apology? Public self-flagellation? What would make this right for you? I considered her question seriously. I don't want anything from you, Allison. That's the point you're missing. For years, I wanted your approval, your acceptance. I wanted a place at the family table. Now, I realize I've built my own table. And it's actually bigger and more meaningful than the one you were keeping me from. She nodded slowly. So where does that leave us as a family? That depends on whether you're interested in knowing me as a person, not just as a successful businessman who happens to share your DNA. If you want a relationship with me that isn't based on what I can do for you, or how I reflect on you, I'm open to that. If not, we'll keep things cordial and distant, just as they've been. The only difference is, now I'm at peace with it. Allison stood, smoothing her immaculate pantsuit. You've changed, Cole. And not just because of the money. No, I agreed. The money just made you notice. She extended her hand, formally, like a business meeting. Congratulations on your success, Cole. Truly. I shook her hand, feeling the strange mix of familiarity and distance. Thank you. I hope you find what you're looking for, Allison, whatever that might be. As I watched my family leave through the lobby doors below, I felt no triumph, no vindication. Just a quiet certainty that whatever happened next would be on my terms, not theirs. Marcus approached, standing beside me at the window. Family, huh? Can't live with them. Can't throw them out of your lobby without causing a scene. I finished, with a small smile. You okay? He asked. I nodded, turning from the window. Yeah, better than okay. Let's get back to work. We've got an empire to build. 6 months after the global tech deal, Quantum Lock had transformed from a promising startup to an industry leader. Our staff grew from 12 to 78. We moved to larger offices, occupying 3 floors of a downtown high-rise. Our security system was being implemented across major corporations worldwide. I was no longer just a coder with a vision. I was a CEO with enormous responsibilities. The hours were longer, the decisions weightier, but the work remained deeply satisfying. We were building something that mattered. More difficult to navigate was the changed relationship with my family. In the months following that lobby confrontation, we established a new dynamic, built on cautious distance, rather than my constant need for validation. My mother made the most genuine efforts to reconnect. She called regularly, asking thoughtful questions about my life without the old dismissive undertones. She even took an online course in cybersecurity basics, saying she wanted to understand my world better. I was wrong about your path, Cole, she admitted during a rare dinner, just the two of us. I was so focused on what success looked like in my generation that I couldn't see you were creating something new and important. My father maintained a more formal relationship, sending occasional emails with relevant articles about the tech industry. His way of saying he was paying attention now, even if he couldn't quite bring himself to admit how thoroughly he'd dismissed my potential. Bradley, surprisingly, became an ally. Once the initial awkwardness passed, his straightforward business mind appreciated what we'd built. He didn't pretend to understand the technology, but he respected the results. We met for drinks occasionally, finding common ground in the challenges of leadership. Allison remained the most distant. Our office interaction had exposed truths neither of us was entirely comfortable acknowledging. We saw each other at family events, but maintained a polite detachment, probably healthier than the condescension and resentment that had characterized our relationship before. The most meaningful relationships in my life were now with the people who had believed in me when belief wasn't easy. Marcus, who invested not just money, but faith. Sophia, whose marketing brilliance translated our tech into success. Dominic, who coded alongside me through countless late nights. And Rachel, who saw potential where others saw only risk. These were the people who sat at my table now, literally and figuratively. We celebrated milestones, supported each other, and built something larger than any of us could have created alone. Perhaps the most unexpected development was meeting Natalie Chun, a brilliant data scientist. Unlike most people I met now, she had no idea who I was when we first encountered each other in the company kitchen at 3 a.m. You look like you need this more than I do, she said, sliding her coffee towards me. Don't we have an intern for coffee runs? I joked. Probably. But interns sleep at night, like normal humans. We talked for an hour about algorithms, neural networks, the ethical implications of AI security. Not once did she mention our company valuation or my net worth. When she finally asked my name, her only response was, "Oh, well, your security architecture has some interesting vulnerabilities in the authentication protocol. Want me to show you?" Natalie valued me for my mind, my ideas, my character, not my success. Our relationship developed slowly, built on intellectual respect and genuine connection. Around this time, I also made a decision that surprised many, but felt deeply right. I established the Marshall Innovation Scholarship, funding education for students pursuing unconventional paths in technology. The application process sought out creative thinkers who might not thrive in traditional academic environments. People like the younger version of myself. When the first recipients were announced, I invited my grandfather's widow, my step-grandmother Eleanor. In her 80s, her eyes were bright as she watched these young innovators. "Robert would be so proud," she whispered, squeezing my hand. "He always said you had the spark, just like him." Her words meant more than any business award. They connected me to the one family member who had seen my potential when it was just that, potential. The corporate culture we built at Quantum Lock reflected these values. We hired for creativity and problem-solving, not just credentials. Our team included PhDs alongside self-taught programmers. What mattered was the capacity to think differently. One afternoon, reviewing plans for our new research facility, Marcus knocked. "Got a minute? There's something you should see." He led me to the conference room. A news program was on. The anchor discussed the upcoming 5th anniversary of the global tech deal. Industry analysts initially questioned whether Quantum Lock could deliver on their ambitious security promises, the anchor said. 5 years later, the system has prevented an estimated $12 billion in potential breach damages. The company that many dismissed as an unrealistic startup has fundamentally changed how we approach digital security. Marcus muted the TV. 5 years, man. Can you believe it? Sometimes, I admitted. Other times, it still feels like we're that tiny team in your spare bedroom, trying to convince someone to take us seriously. Speaking of taking things seriously, Marcus grinned. Your sister called the main office line this morning. Said she couldn't reach you on your cell. My relationship with Allison had thawed slightly over the years, but we still maintained distance. What did she want? To invite you to Thanksgiving. Said it wouldn't be the same without you. I laughed at the irony. Funny how things change. You going to go? I considered the question seriously. Maybe. Not because I need their approval anymore, but because I'm secure enough now to engage with them on my own terms. Growth. Marcus nodded approvingly. Look at you, all emotionally mature and stuff. The journey from rejection to success had taught me many things. But perhaps the most important was this. True validation comes from within and from the people who believe in you when belief isn't easy. Success might change how the world sees you, but it shouldn't change how you see yourself. I had spent years trying to earn a place at my family's table, only to discover that building my own table, surrounding myself with people who valued me for who I was, not just what I achieved, was far more satisfying. The next time someone tells you you're not ready for a seat at their table, consider whether that's the table you really want to sit at. Sometimes the greatest success comes from creating spaces where you, and others like you, can thrive on your own terms.